is 24 degrees Celsius here in Abuja this overcast morning. We understand it's going to be raining for the next couple of days or so, as it has been doing for a few days now. Good morning and welcome to your daily dose of sunshine, regardless of whatever the weather is. Sunrise Daily. I'm Maukwe Ogun Yusuf.
You get ready, it's going to be raining for the next few days. I think about 10 days of rain or so we're looking at.
That's what we understand has been predicted.
Well, good morning and welcome. I'm Kayla Megwa, and what a day we had here. Can't you guys give us one day, just one day of rest? I mean, it always feels like before you blink and open up your eyes, everything in Nigeria has happened at the same time. 2 days ago on our sister program, Politics Today, we saw this DG of what's the agency called? The PFIPC, alleged DG. And he was talking on that program, and he was talking about how he was scared for his life and, trying to give details of this very messy situation. Well, the update we got yesterday is that this alleged Director General of the fake Presidential Foreign Intervention Promotion Council, PFIPC, Adeni Ademi, has been arrested, as you can see there on your screen. He was arrested in Osun State. The arrest was carried out by the police after a warrant was issued by Justice Muhammad Umar of the Federal High Court in Abuja, where he was scheduled to be arraigned in court yesterday, on Monday, I think. On Monday, and he was absent, as were other people who were supposed to be arraigned. He was to be arraigned on an 8-count charge filed by the police and relating to forgery, fraud, and impersonation. And really, Mark, but the questions that this particular matter raises, how did this, that's the question on everybody's lips. How did this happen? How did it slip through the cracks? Whether it is true, whether what Mr. Adeyemi is saying is true or false, whether the letter he was given was a real letter or a fake letter, the holes in this story and the complicity, whether it is complicity in the sense that you were part of the fraud or you were unaware of the fraud and you just saw a letter with a name that carried some authority, and because of that you let it happen, whether this or that, the question is how. Now, the president very graciously has ordered an investigation into this matter. Yes, case is also in court. Yes, but I think it's a learning, teachable moment for the Nigerian people and the Nigerian government. How could this happen to us? How did we let this happen? How did someone, whether he was authorized or not, get an office in the Federal Secretariat, 3 accounts in the CBN, be able to talk to foreign diplomats representing Nigeria? This council that he was supposed to be the DG of, is supposed to be focusing on something that we find very serious: foreign investments. How did this happen? This is one story that I don't think is going to die. I don't think it's going to go away. Now, if we do not handle this matter with the delicacy and with the thoroughness that is necessary for something as scandalous as this, I think that we have basically sent a message of how we should be treated. The Chief of Staff to the President, Mr. Femi Gbajabiamila, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. George Akume, the Head of Service, the DSS. Somebody is going through a particular screening right now. The amount of screening that they have done on her life since she got this presidential appointment, we're wondering, did this man go through that same kind of screening? Because before you do anything in this government, the amount of information that the government has on you, you will know that there's government. If you ever have to deal with government, you will understand that they know you. How did this happen, Malpa?
Well, I guess it's a question that a lot of Nigerians continue to ask. One of the most illuminating interviews that we have watched or we've listened to so far has been the one granted by Osita Chidoka, who is a former Minister of Aviation and also a former Corps Marshal of the FRSC, that's the Federal Road Safety Corps. And he granted one to our sister program, Politics Today. If you missed that interview, it might be one that we would recommend that we watch. People sometimes already understand the psychology of officialdom, of officialese, so to speak. And sometimes they tend to play on it. The fact that they know that certain figures within government can be powerful or are powerful, and they rest on that. So oftentimes what then happens is people are unwilling to ask the questions that need to be asked. And perhaps, you know, he was making the point that that could explain why it is that we have found ourselves here, but that we need to get to the base point of this as to finding out if indeed such a letter, the letter that this Mr. Adeyemi claims was written, or Prince Adeyemi claims was written, appointing him as the Director General of such a phantom organization exists. And if indeed that letter emanated from the office of the Chief of Staff, because according to him, the Chief of Staff is a staff of the President. He has no such powers to issue such a letter. And in fairness, even though that, you know, even though this is now lost in all the noise, the Chief of Staff to the President has said that he not only issued a disclaimer, but had reported to the authorities as far back as October last year. So, and that is there with the authorities, that, you know, somebody was claiming that there was a letter. And he also said he was aware that he had no such powers to do. That's not the process that any appointment will follow. But then I think that this calls all of us to some order, which is what Mr. Chidoka was calling for yesterday, asking all of us to sit up and ask, how are we asking questions? In government these days, are people willing to still ask questions? If processes are not being followed or something is fishy somewhere, in all honesty and in fairness to some government agencies, it was also their alarm that drew attention to the operations of this matter. We understand the NIPC, National Investment Promotion Council, raised objection that somebody is doing our job or claims to be doing our job. We do not know what this agency is about. It was their own alertness that drew this, but it seems it took a while. Also, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs raising its brows and saying, how can someone be inviting ambassadors and foreign diplomats to an event and we know nothing about it? This is certainly not how it's supposed to be done. So in some way, the alertness and the willingness of these organizations to summon courage and ask questions when it ought to have been asked, put this phantom organization or stopped it dead in its tracks. But then how many more have slipped through the cracks? Kayla, as you rightly said, only recently, the appointment I got to the NHRC has seen me go through the amounts of screening. I mean, I feel rather transparent right now. That's the truth of the matter.
They have checked your life.
Because they checked all, and it's still in the process. I mean, they know my family members, they know my father, my mother is late now, they know my siblings, they want to know everything about you. So I remember teasing them, you know, the authorities, and saying, this man, Charlie, this man, if you're checking me like this, did this man go through this one screening? And we're still in this sort of mess. So big questions really to ask our authorities, big questions to ask ourselves. And as Mr. Chidoka emphasized yesterday, this shouldn't just be looked at, well, yes, some people think this is big news around corruption, and indeed it is, because this is a scandal. Let's just face it. It is a scandal, and this is going to be, for a country that is still trying to get rid of its appellation as the headquarters of 419, this certainly will go down as a major haste, scamming of government itself. So the government itself in its own country. He didn't do it outside.
I mean, I hope this investigation uncovers a lot of the questions, Maokwe.
Yes.
By yourself?
By yourself.
One person did this by himself? No collusion?
Yeah. So
no collusion? How?
Big questions. These are some of the things that the investigations, we hope that the investigations will reveal. It's a good thing that it seems there's a multi-layer now. This is in court, so Mr. Adeyemi is certainly going to be spending a long time in detention, because his case is not going to be called until the 30th of September.
Yeah.
Then we're just where now? We're in July, mid-July. So he has at least 6 weeks to cool his heels within the custody of the security agencies before his case is finally tabled. Then we also know that the ICPC they've been ordered by the president to also investigate. Their time is running out. We're keeping count of the days. I know that when Ayo comes back, we'll have a very clear idea of where we are. It's the accurate date keeper. Yes. Day what it is out of the 30 days given the ICPC by the president. But clearly, all eyes on this particular case. I mean, we do know that Kayla, I don't know if you ever read this book, and I'll recommend it to Nigerians. First, there is this one written, it's not a work of fiction, it's reality. It's actually in the biography written by Professor Wale Adebanwi. The title is A Paradise for Maggots. It's actually a story on Nuhu Ribadu. Yes. So it was a story of the anti-graft Caesar, who, by the way, is now the current NSA. It's a book I'll highly recommend. Then the second one is a work of fiction. So if you think, this is too serious, this holidays for children are coming up, you might want to get this book. It's by Adobe Trisha Wambani. It's titled, I Do Not Come to You by Chance. And let us see how we'll add this particular story.
God forbid, we will not be a paradise for maggots.
Oh, unfortunately, that's exactly what we're still trying. We're trying to, you know, remove that toga, and that's what we must
we have remove. To do everything to make sure that this is not our reputation. Indeed. This cannot be our reputation. We are.
Exactly.
It cannot be who we are.
It's not enough to say God forbid, killer. We must do the work.
We must work on it. Exactly.
We'll take a break. We've been talking too much. We'll take a break now, and when we come back, we'll bring the matters that we have for you today. Security is still very much on the front burner. We had the Senate yesterday asking Governor Makinde to be mindful and not to. We were told we were waiting for reactions on that, and they were swift in coming. The presidency has reacted through the spokesperson, Mr. Bayo Onanuga, and we also saw the Senate weighed in. Senator Shomole and a few other senators waded in on that particular matter. We will be looking at the issue in Benue State. Well, we also consider this as well. In just a moment, please stay with us.
In the early hours of Sunday, the 12th of July 2026, unknown assailants launched attacks in Otukponubi, leading to the death of at least 8 persons, with 11 people injured and 5 missing. The killings caused heavy protests among young people who barricaded the Makodi-Otukpo 9th Mile Road, demanding justice and legal backing to allow them bear arms for self-protection. To nip all this in the bud, the Deputy Governor, Mr. Sam Ode, arrives at community in company of security officials to condole with the grieving families and get a first-hand report from the youth.
We are about 50 to 60 in numbers. We they killed 8 people and 11 people were injured. And before this incident happened, on Monday morning, when we heard that the Fulani were around us here, we ran to the security agency and reported the case that the Fulani herdsmen, they are nearby us.
While sympathizing with the community, the Deputy Governor emphasizes the need for the establishment of a joint task force base in the area while demanding for justice.
We need to, as a matter of urgency, establish a front operational base of the military, a joint operational base of the military and police in this community.
The Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zone 4 promises that those responsible for the killings will be arrested.
I just want to advise the members of this community that They should be patient. They should continue to be patient. Too wrong cannot make a right. Please, you remain calm while the security agencies are working around the clock to ensure that the perpetrators of this evil act have been apprehended.
The lawmaker representing the area in the State Assembly calls on the National Assembly to include community and vigilante policing to downstream security to the locals.
And I'm calling on the National Assembly, my senior colleagues, to not only pass the bill on state police, but we should also include community and vigilante policing. Because we need to cascade security down to the community level.
The delegation also visits the paramount ruler of Idoma Kingdom to commiserate with him and seek better approach to protecting his domain and subjects.
Yes, indeed. We told you we're keeping tabs on security. In the north central region, it's still a bit hot, even though in Oyo State, Rorire particularly, that has now cooled off to a large extent. Never mind, yes, that is still there. The call of the governor to investigate what exactly transpired. He's asking for the United Nations to investigate what transpired there. But largely, attention is now shifting to the north central region, where we've now seen attacks in Jos and also in Benue State, whose report you just saw, now Otukpo local government area specifically. So we have a guest right here in our studios, Comrade Adams Abono. He's a journalist, public affairs analyst, and also the convener of the Save Benue Alliance. You're welcome to Sunrise Early this morning. I know that even as a Nigerian, a part of you would have been relieved for what has happened in Oyo State, perhaps even hopeful that given what has transpired there, perhaps, there is hope on the horizon for what is happening in your own state. Did that give you any, did it rekindle in you, especially when you were able to see the visuals of the dramatic rescue of those children, even though it took that long, it took 56 days. Did it kindle in you any fire that it is indeed possible for us to overcome the challenges that states like yours have faced now for years?
Well, thank you for having me in the first instance. What happened in Oyo, the release of the school children and their teachers, it's a sort of, it rekindles hope, yes, but the instances between Oyo and the situation elsewhere like Benue and some of the North Central states are different, because in Benue, we have a crisis in our hands that is clearly an orchestrated carnage, and it's underreported, and we're yet to see the kind of national response that we saw that the Oyo kidnap case generated. So while we are glad, we're happy that these children have been released, have been rescued as reported, we are also hoping to see, similar effort translate to rescuing our situation in Benue and elsewhere in Nigeria. Yeah.
Well, those, I'm sure you also heard the comments, even though some have now said this is politics being taken too far. The governor saying that he wants international investigators to unravel if there were collusions, if there was negligence, if there was complacency in this particular matter. Of course, you've also heard the presidency reacting through its spokesperson that this is politics being taken too far and it has a tendency to rubbish the efforts, because let's not forget, lives were lost on the side of the abductees as well as the side of those who rescued those people. Security agents lost their lives in this process. What are your thoughts as an ordinary citizen just watching the situation, the exchange between the governor and those reacting to it?
Well, the governor of your state, by status, is supposed to be the chief security officer of your state. And he would have information that ordinary citizens like me wouldn't have, And so for him to call for an investigation, despite that would be a challenge to our institutions in Nigeria, we also want to place it in proper perspectives that the governor has the prerogative, as chief security officer, to call for an extensive investigation. The governor probably knows things that we do not know. And so for him to call for that investigation, I think the presidency, I read the reports of the presidency, and yes, we might agree that, the governor is extending his, there's a hand of politics in all of this. But at that, the crux of the issue remains that this kidnap case was an embarrassing situation nationally, to us as a nation. It should be handled from a point of view that Nigerians are serious about their security. So the governor, it's right to call for that extensive investigation by international organizations, because we have seen, we have heard collusions, from high quarters on these kidnaps.
On this particular one in Orire or other instances?
Yeah, in instances like the Boko Haram issue in the Northeast, we have heard of institutional collusion, and in this particular instance of this Orire issue, we saw that the governor is running for president. This kidnap issue happened on the day that he declared to run for president. So we are seeing that there is some sort of politics in all of this. We want to see that our lives as Nigerians are not taken for granted. So we will stick with the governor for your state, Governor Sheyi Makinde, to call for a proper investigation into the issues that surrounds this kidnap. And I'm saying this with all respect to the lives of those lost in this kidnap.
You do not think that this is coincidence? That's just sheer coincidence. It happened on the day he declared. It could have been any other day.
Yeah, it could have been any other day, but these coincidences are too close, to be mere coincidences. We have seen that Nigerians' politics is done, in every heinous manner in this place. So even the politicians, play with the lives of ordinary citizens in their quest for power. So it is not a surprise to have an abduction happen on the day that a major opposition figure like the governor for your state was declaring his presidential ambition, And then, to be fair to the federal government, we have seen some level of seriousness, collaboration between security agencies in the rescue of these abducted children and their teachers. We know that lives were lost, but at the end of the day, these collaborations materialized into, a rescue of these children and their teachers. We want to have the presidency and the federal government and the administration of President Bola Tinubu to sit up properly, in safeguarding the lives of Nigerians, which they swore an oath in the first instance to do.
Let's narrow down on your state, Benue. Why do you think that the security situation in Benue, and when you say that you haven't seen the sort of national, let's say, coalition to, stop or bring to an end, some people will say, well, it would seem that what we've seen in Benue is a little seasonal. It comes and goes. After the Yelwata killings, for instance, there was huge concern enough that the president visited. Not only did he visit, he asked at that time, I remember asking the IGP, no arrests? And we also saw that much later, there were concerted efforts to bring to book those people responsible for the Yelwata killings. And to a large extent, people thought that that was going to, solve the situation in, at least bring it to the barest minimum in your state. But clearly, that now seems to be a temporary measure because, again, we're now seeing what is happening in Otukpo. I think we've seen one or two skirmishes before this major one we're seeing in Otukpo. Why do you think the situation remains as intractable as we've seen it?
The situation in Benue, I have mentioned earlier that our predicament in Benue is an orchestrated carnage by Fulani headsmen on our people. And and this has gone beyond mere skirmishes between farmers and herdsmen. We used to live in peace with Fulani people. They come to graze. There's that seasonal challenge occasioned by climate change. So when it is dry season, they would come, and our families, our villages would offer them land, offer them food. But with the passage of time, we have seen that there has been a well-calculated, conquest on our people. There's been attempts to wipe out an entire generation, and then occupy these places that have been displaced. The crisis in Benue is as heinous as every humanity, every organ of humanity should be concerned about, because this is a clear attempt at genocide. Over time, there has been this gradual metamorphosis into a full-fledged war on an innocent people. The casualties have quadrupled, because I have said that Benue casualties are underreported. Before, what we are seeing playing out in Otupo in the past 2 days, my own village has been wiped out in Apa. With 76 people killed. We have woken up every day in the past 13, 14 years to every community recording at least 3 casualties every day. But these are underreported. We do not know why. There is that blanket in the media. So when 100 people are killed, there's going to be that report that, only about half a dozen, The president visited last year, about this time last year, when there was that massacre in Yelawata. The president had to come because Yelawata was on the roadside. There are villages at the in the hinterlands where families and entire families have been wiped out. Entire families have been wiped out. These were not reported. The president didn't need to come. After the president visited, we expected that, there should be a vigorous, coherent national response to the crisis in Benue. But while the crisis seemed to ebb, it shut off after that time. We have seen carnages, widespread carnages everywhere. So beyond the president's visit to Benue, we want to see that our people are living, and going about their businesses without fear of being hacked down by these marauding forces. We are clearly under attack, but to be fair to the government in Benue, they have tried to provide, incentives for security agencies. I understand that there have been 100 Hilux buses provided, over 120 motorcycles provided for, rapid response forces, and then renovation, and then provisions for military operations in Benue by the Benue State government. But we want to see that this translates into better security for our people. We want to see that the efforts being made by Governor Hyacinth earlier, by the administration of Governor Hyacinth earlier, would be to the effect that our people are traditionally farmers. We have a situation in our hands where farmers are not being able to go to their farms. So there are implications for even food security. Benue is, Christian to be the food basket of the nation. So if this basket is turned, how do we then feed the nation? So we want to see that these provisions that the Benue State government have made, the governor visited the scene of the crisis yesterday, as a response to, the unfortunate carnage that is being perpetrated on his people. We acknowledge that one. But we want to see that government efforts lead to better security for our people, or else people like me would retire back to Benue to lead militia forces. We have to lead militia forces to safeguard our people. We have to have a resistance force. We have seen it played elsewhere in southern Sudan, the Darfur
Would
region.
that still be necessary with the advent of state police?
The state police has not come into effect for us to see if it would manifest, positively on the lives of our people. But we want to also believe that as an organ of government, the state police would come in with that effect that would safeguard our people and not, be taken advantage by political forces. We want to have a state police, that would gather intelligence, that would enforce this intelligence when need be, that would collaborate with, the federal police to safeguard our people. There are police presence in Benue. We have...
we'll go into detail. I think, Kela will have questions for you on that. But I was just, when you were talking about militia, leading a militia, I was just wondering if that would still be necessary, given what it is that the president and the National Assembly members, because yesterday we understand that the president sent his own bill to the National Assembly on state police, and the National Assembly have now withdrawn their own, whether that would still be necessary in the face of developments that we're seeing on the polity. But Kela, please go ahead.
I just want to be able to pronounce this community, Ondo. Ondo.
Yes.
So the Ondo community.
Ondo Uboju,
So this attack happened just yesterday.
Just yesterday,
8 people dead.
8 people dead. This was after 18 people were hacked to death in Otukonobi the day before,
What's happening?
Heinous.
So here's the thing. It's not underreported. It's just a lot. So let me explain how that works, right? So sometimes if something happens every day and you're reporting it every day, sometimes it feels like you're hearing the same thing over and over. So you may think that it's underreported. It's not underreported. We report this. We've been reporting what's been happening in Benue since the weekend, because this problem has been on since the weekend. Now, you're talking about a situation where, you're asking for more, I don't know whether you're asking for more security, you're asking for more intelligence gathering, but there are people who believe that the reason why this is happening, we had one of them here yesterday. He said the reason why this is happening in Benue is because you have cracked as a community, that the communities themselves are complicit in a lot of these attacks. You can respond to that when you're answering. So he says the communities are complicit. We have tussles between youth leaders, traditional leaders. You have groups and all of these things. And a lot of these attacks are because one person is trying to get the other person punished for whatever grouse they're sharing. And then there's also the fact that many people believe that this is some kind of reprisal following the killing of the Benue State chairman of Miyetti Allah Breeders Association of Nigeria, Magbandas Alhaji Ardo Risku Mohammed, and his associate, Yakubu Isa. So just to get your thoughts on these questions people have about your communities, and then of course the question about whether this is a reprisal killing.
Okay, I would start from the possibility of a reprisal.
Yeah.
Alhaji Ardo Risku Mohammed was killed in Benue. Crime is condemnable everywhere, and we cannot use crime as a solution to, terror. While his unfortunate death was regrettable, we are not complicit in the death of that, fellow Alhaji Risku Mohammed. We've seen a situation in 1994 when Hutu rebels shot down a plane carrying the vice president of Rwanda. And this plane was shot down by Hutu rebels. And then Hutus themselves took it that it was their opponent, the Tutsis, that shot down this plane. And then they descended on the Tutsis, and a genocide, occurred. It is almost similar thing playing out in Benue. It is possible that Alhaji Risku, may his soul rest in peace, had issues with, they have all of that internal frictions within this Herdsmen Association. There is that Magban faction, there is the Mieti Allah faction. These people are at loggerheads. So there's a possibility too that one of the factions, possibly hacked him to death, him and his associate. And then we know that Fulani people have been killing our people. And then there have been excuses at which to continue this carnage. So the possibility of reprisal is high, because Ondo, the community that was attacked yesterday, is just it's within the same circumference of the scene of that, that crime that led to the death of Alhaji Risku and his associate. And then to come to your question about the possibility of internal crisis, communal crisis, reflecting on the security issues in Benue. Yes, there are communal crises everywhere, not in Benue alone. But these communal crises are resolved. There are mechanisms for resolving this communal crisis within the communities. They do not lead to death of our people. What we have in Benue is an attempt to displace our people. If you check the indices of this crisis, the number of fatalities increased, as the years progressed. We have had, in my local government, I come from Apa local government, there are about 34 communities in Apa local government. Out of these 34, 29 are displaced. So we have Uboku, the local government headquarters, has become sort of an IDP, an internally displaced persons camp. Although government is yet to set up a proper, camp for displaced people. But you are going to see a humanitarian crisis playing out because communities are displaced. Our people are sleeping with both eyes opened. They cannot go to their farms. If you dare to go to your farm, you are hacked to death. So there is no possibility.
Who's trying to displace you?
Fulani Militia.
So Fulani Militia, they want to kill everybody in Benue and take over the state.
We understand clearly that this is about what they are, out for, And it is orchestrated. It is something that has been planned, and then they're coming in stages. There are camps, that our people, they kidnap people from the communities. They demand for ransoms as high or low as 500,000 naira, 1 million naira. These people pay because they want to stay alive. And then this militia use these same funds to go and procure more arms to use against our people. So you see that progressively communities are being displaced.
You're the convener of the Save Benue Alliance.
Yes.
Have you communicated with the governor about these fears that you have?
We have that channel of communication. The deputy governor in Benue, Dr. Sam Ode, who is doing, he has found himself in a helpless, situation because his people are being killed. He is in government. He is doing his best. We have had that informal communication, and he's doing his best. He's meeting challenges. So the government in Benue is trying. They're up in their game to, quell this crisis.
Have you officially complained to the governor?
In Benue?
Yes.
We have.
Officially?
Of course.
What was the response from the governor?
The governor has shown at least some level of concern, as chief security officer. I wouldn't doubt his sincerity about...
Did he respond to you?
He did.
What did he say?
One of the responses was he's visiting Otupo yesterday.
Okay.
To assure the people that their lives under him will be safeguarded.
No,
we want to take him
your
by his
complaint
words.
that you say Fulani Militia are trying to take over your community. Did you table that before the governor?
We tabled that before the governor, but we understand. The governor is the chief security officer of Benue. Fulani people, our constitution in Nigeria says anybody could live anywhere, The governor would have to be tactical about this issue. We understand that one.
So when you told him that you feel Fulani militia are the ones that are trying to get rid of your community,
yes,
what did the governor say to you?
He wasn't equivocal about it, but he assured that nobody would take our communities from us, and that Fulani militia or whoever that is attempting that will be stopped in their game. So we want to believe that as Chief Security Officer of Benue, Benue lives will be safe.
And you're satisfied with the assurances that the governor's given you?
So far, we are satisfied. We want to see these assurances translate into action, not just mere assurances. We have had an unfortunate cycle where communities are attacked, people condemn, officials, government officials jump up on themselves to issue press statements in condemnation of these attacks. Then they wait for the next community to be attacked, and then that orgy of violence, continue to play out. And we are not comfortable with that. We cannot accept that as a people. We cannot accept that as a people. So we want to believe that the governor is governor of a people. If his people are displaced, who would he govern? So we want to see that the governor in Benue would, meet up with his words. He has shown, commensurate support for security agencies. We understand that governors are handicapped at times, but he has provided incentives. He has, given supplies to military operations. But we want to see these operations translate into the safety of our people.
Comrade,
yes.
What ultimately do you think will be the solution to this problem? Do you want Fulanis removed from your community? Do you want more civil? What do you think would be the solution? Because this is a lot. This weekend has been one of the bloodiest weekends in Benue State.
And I can tell you that this is as we speak.
And it's recurring. We're not ignorant of the fact that this happens every 2 weeks, something in Benue.
It happens every day.
So what ultimately do you think will be the solution to this problem?
It wouldn't be a simplistic approach.
Yeah.
It would be an extensive approach. But primarily, we want to have Fulani people out of our land. We want to have Fulani people out of our land. And then, by extension, the crisis is playing out. We are seeing the climate change, where desertification is, encroaching into the north. We want to have international organizations, the UN agencies on environment, to take the issues of climate change seriously, because the crisis in Benue and elsewhere in Nigeria, whatever banditry, kidnapping, at the heart of it is, the fallout of climate change. So we want to have government meet up these challenges with every sense of seriousness. But then again, we want to have Fulani militia, removed from our communities. We want to live in peace, and whoever wants to live in peace with us is welcome. But whoever comes to us with AK-47, hacking our people to death, must be removed.
Okay. It seems to me that you have now made a classification, because when you say you want Fulani people, you mean the militia. I'm a nationalist. I have Fulani friends. No, I'm just asking you to clarify.
Yes.
I'm trying to help you clarify that.
There's a difference between Fulani militia and Fulani people.
But every militia that we have seen in Benue are Fulani people. But it doesn't mean that every Fulani person is a militia.
Okay.
Yes.
You don't have militia as yet, because are you saying that you do not have local militia within Benue?
We do not have local. If we have local militia within Benue, Fulani people would not dare to hack our people to death.
Okay.
I am advocating for local militia, I want to even be a militia leader. And I'm saying this nationally so that people would know that we do not have any option. If this carnage continues, we will be forced with no option than to defend ourselves.
What would you have called Ghana when he was alive?
You mean the fellow Ghana?
Yes.
Ghana?
Was he a militia leader?
He was a criminal.
Was a criminal?
Yes, Ghana was a criminal.
It wasn't a militia leader.
He wasn't leading any militia on behalf of Benue people.
Because we understand that the people he led in that period are still very much around. As a matter of fact, there's also some jostling for leadership amongst them?
They have, the people, I understand too, that the people he led then, the remnants have become criminal elements, you know, terrorizing their own people, you know. So we do not want to have characters like Ghana. But if the government forces it upon us, we are going to have people who would defend their communities.
Okay, so there's a distinction. The question now will be, if you also say that those people are criminals, how do we then know when it is the Fulani people that cause it and when these people whom you label as criminals? Because you've labeled some people militia. What they're doing is wreaking violence on the people. Criminals, that's what they do as well. They wreak violence. How do we then differentiate if it's criminals or militia that carried out the attacks?
Okay, we see the distinction is clear. There are pockets of criminal elements within communities in Benue. Not Benue alone. Elsewhere, across the world, there are criminal elements everywhere in communities. These criminal elements, they go about their criminality, they rob people, they carry out pockets of violence, you know, here and there. But Fulani militia carry out large-scale, you know, carnage.
So when it's large-scale, we can say it is Fulani.
Oh no!
When it is small-scale, we can attribute it to them. I'm just trying to see, because look, comrade, oftentimes when these attacks occur, and a lot of people have been very disturbed by what is happening in Benue City. Don't forget that last year, you know, there was a particular reverend who used to go around northeast states, north central states, drawing not just local attention but international attention to the crisis prevalent in the north central states. And only last year, late last year, we saw how Nigeria was in some mode of panic when President Donald Trump said he was going to come into Nigeria to save Christians, guns ablazing, as a result of the genocide. It's a word that you've used. It's a word that those in authority have used. Governor Caleb Muftuang used to use that word. I don't know if he'll still say that genocide is happening in his state. It will be very interesting to speak with him again. But this is a word that has been used that has now drawn international attention to the situation. And we saw what transpired as a result of that. One would have thought that, okay, even adding international attention to it, this should also be quelled. But what we understand is that the issues are a lot more complex than what we see on the surface. It's not just some militia groups coming in, that sometimes you also have reprisals. Sometimes you have connivance. Sometimes you have collusion by those people who are said to be the locals in that place. How do we make this distinction in such a way, or in such a way that takes into cognizance all of these complexities and still finds us a solution?
Well, while we are trying to make a distinction between local militia and Fulani militia and reprisals and collusion, we have a war situation in Benue. And just like every war, there are saboteurs, you know. So we are going to have elements from communities in Benue or elsewhere that are at this crisis colliding with these surrounding forces. Yes, there would be that collusion, but I would also insist that what we have in Benue is not in short of an attempt at genocide. And while I might not agree completely with American President Trump on his gun ablazing assertion, but he asserted that Christians have been killed. We have a situation in Benue too where this thing has a note of religion, because some of these attackers, when they attack our people, they shout Allah Akbar, and it is unfortunate that Allah Akbar, that should be praise be to God, is being used, you know, after hacking down our people. So we want to tend to agree that there's a religious note to this crisis too.
No, sorry, just for a moment. Do we also say that Because let's not forget that these people who do that in the northeast as well, where majority of people who are attacked there are Muslims, and they say that, do we still put it under the toga of religion?
We have these people hiding behind religion. We understand, yes, in the Northeast, I have had exposures, to the crisis in the Northeast, and I have seen that these people also attack Muslims. They are criminals. They are terrorists. Terrorists do not have religion, but they hide under the toga of religion to orchestrate terror. So we have people terror in Benue in the name of religion, in the name of displacing our people to take over their land. At the heart of this crisis is the arable land in Benue. These people want to displace us from now. Our people are farmers.
Okay. So hold on a second, comrade. Our correspondent in Benue has just joined us. Pius Angbo is joining us via Zoom. Good morning, Pius.
Good morning, Kayla.
All right, so talk to us about what's going on in Benue State. And thank you for your reporting over the past few days. It feels like it's been a daily occurrence. Quite a lot has been going on in Benue. So talk to us about the situation right now, and what you've been seeing on the ground in the past few days.
All right. The current situation is that while the attack happened, one happened at Akpachi, Tupu local government on Friday morning. 2 persons were killed. The main attack that happened on Sunday morning, where 8 persons killed, 5 missing, 11 injured, drew a large-scale protest across the Otupo township down to the Chidamas Palace, demanding that the governor attend to the concerns, security concerns in Otupo local government. He sent his deputy on Monday to Otupo local government. The deputy went there down to the community, met with the people, conveyed government concerns and actions towards them. The police also spoke about bringing perpetrators to justice. But yesterday, the governor went to Otupo himself to see the Ochidoma and engage the traditional political leadership of Otupo and Zone C, the Benue South in general, before heading to the hospital where you have the 11 injured persons receiving treatment, and he engaged with them as well. But whilst he was giving assurance that they will deal with this issue, in Ondo community in Ugboju, in part of Otupo local government, another attack by suspected headsmen took place where the youth chairman was killed by name Sunday Ogo. He was killed same yesterday. Now, the point is that the forests in Benue State are all occupied by bandits. Security agencies know this, community members know this. Government, security, and community need to work together to, first of all, flush out bandits from this forest, because they move from this place to soft target communities where there are no security presence, and they keep hitting these targets. So in 5 days, there have been 3 attacks in Otupo local government alone, with casualties as high as 11. Now, if these continue without we getting concerted actions to get these things resolved, we will see that these attacks will persist, because it is not to say when you have made a political statement, you have made a security statement, you are there in those hinterlands with those communities at night. These guys do not engage with you. They don't care what you are saying here.
Well, Pius, thank you for your reporting. We ask you to please stay safe in Benue. We do not have, we hope that, these killings are brought to an end sometime soon, and that security agencies also take this matter up with all seriousness. Thank you once more for your reporting. Our correspondent there, Pius Angbo, reporting from Benue State. Thank you so much. Well, comrade, we are out of time. I think you already also gave your own solution. You say you want Fulani militia out of Benue. And I want to imagine that security agencies are also listening to what it is that you said. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. I would add briefly that the governor in Benue, as much as he's doing his best, he has made incentives for security agencies. He has provided, some sort of relief for our displaced people. We want to see that the governor would live up to expectation. We will give him all the support, he needs in, securing our people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming on the program. Comrade Adam Sabono is a journalist, public affairs analyst, and also the convener of the Save Benue Alliance. That's where we draw the curtains today on Sunrise Daily. Thank you so much for being a part of the program. I'm Maokwe Ogun Yusuf.
Business Morning is at the top of the hour. I'm Kayla Magwa. Stay safe out there.